Hi, this is Radha from Sewing Through Fog, and welcome to the Denim Duo Quilt Pattern. Now, this quilt pattern is written specifically for using your old jeans. Can you use other fabrics? Absolutely. There's just a lot of patterns out there for other fabric, and I wanted to create one specifically from denim. So this pattern is going to give you extra tips on how to make a successful quilt with jeans, and it's going to help you choose what jeans to use and how to get those shapes cut out to give you the best result. Now, why is it called the Denim Duo? Because it's really about using a light and a dark, a duo. But actually, the pattern is also a trio because you're going to have 3 different layouts that you can choose from, but all of them really work around the idea of having a light and a dark. So before you get started, I just want to give you a couple tips about choosing your materials. Because again, the duo, light and dark, you can either use lighter jeans and darker jeans, or if you have darker jeans, you can use the outside of the jean and the inside. Now, I'm not going to get into a bunch of textile nerd info, although I love it, but there's a reason why the outside of your jeans are bluer and the inside are more white. And what's great is it automatically gives you a dark and a light to work with. So you're going to need around 4 to 8 pairs of jeans. Okay, why such a big number? Well, totally depends what jeans you're using. Kids jeans, adult jeans. That's why it's kind of hard to say exactly how many you need. But what you're going to be doing is cutting out these rectangles. And you're going to be cutting out 36 light and 36 dark. So you basically need enough jeans to cut out 36 light or 36 dark. You can also, which I walk you through in the pattern, piece those shapes. You can see here a lot of these are a bunch of dark pieced together or a bunch of light pieced together. So you can use small scraps of denim if you have it. You just want to make sure that there aren't too many seams, because again, when you start to get to all these points where everything comes together, you don't want too much bulk happening there because denim, again, is already a little bit bulky. Now, this pattern also calls for an accent fabric, and that fabric can be almost anything. I usually like that fabric to be the same weight or lighter weight than the denim. Again, there's going to be a lot of seams and a lot of layers of fabric, and so it is kind of nice to use something that's maybe a little bit lighter weight. But you can see in this sample, I'm using a cotton canvas that is a little bit heavier. In this pattern, this is layout 1, this is layout 2. In the layout 2 sample, I'm using a Liberty Tanalon, which is a very lightweight fabric. But I have backed it with a little bit of fusible interfacing because you don't want your accent fabric to be too light, or else you're going to have some problems sewing it with the denim. For your accent fabric, you're going to be making these 1-inch strips. And you can either do, as I did in this example, just using one fabric, one color, or this example, I use tons of different little scraps to piece together to make those strips. Now, I want to talk about a couple tools that are not required, but they will help you throughout the process. And if you plan to sew with denim in the future or other heavyweight fabrics, they're things that might be really helpful for you to invest in. The first one, and this you can actually buy or just make yourself, this is called a seam jumper. And what it does is you have your presser foot walking along, and when it gets to a big, thick seam, the foot doesn't really like going uphill. So this sits under the back of the foot and helps the foot go along. This is a one that I got free with my Bernina. but there are many different ones online, or you can even just take a big piece of cardboard and fold it up and use that. Or really anything a large button might work. But I would look up seam jumper, tailor's clapper. This is going to be great for those really heavy seams and kind of awkward areas. And there is one point in the pattern, especially in the layout number 1, where all of those little points come together and is going to be kind of thick. Using your tailor's clapper, I spray a little bit of water on, I put the clapper on top, and what this does is from your iron and your steam, that wood holds that in and almost continues. It's heavy weight wood and it keeps pressing that seam down to keep it open. And then last but not least, in the directions and all of the little images I share, you'll see that I'm using a 12.5 by 12.5 inch ruler. Again, you do not have to have this. This is just, I don't have a lot of tools or a lot of specialty rulers, but this is one I use the most. And I find it's really helpful, again, because of the nice shape and because it has that diagonal. One of the questions I get asked the most is, do I have to use a denim needle? And I've talked about this a lot, but denim needles are great. I only use them if I'm going to be sewing through a lot of layers. If I am just sewing 2 pieces of denim together, I generally don't find I need one as long as the needle I'm using is new and it's sharp and like a 90 weight. But I also have a very high quality, heavy duty sewing machine which helps. So if you're having any issues sewing through the denim, I would recommend trying a denim needle. And then really my number 1 piece of advice is to just go slow. I say pretend you're a snail, but I really mean it. So very slowly through those thick seams and just take your time. And don't worry too much about perfection. I mean, you can see on my sample, things don't line up exactly right. And you know what? I kind of think that gives the quilt a bit of personality, makes it unique. Perfect is boring. So just let yourself play and have fun and make something that is uniquely yours.